Hi guys, today's video is about the basics of design drawing. So before we begin, you are going to want to make sure you're prepared for our lesson. So first, you're going to at least want a piece of graph paper like this, or if you'd like a little bit of an advantage in learning to do some isometric drawing, some design drawings, you can download a piece of this isometric grid paper if you don't have any at home. I'll zoom in a little bit. You can see it's this triangular graph paper, and I have it posted, a link to this, on my Schoology page. Okay, so probably the most fundamental shape when designing is going to be the rectangular block. So let's take my workbench here, for example. You can see this workbench top is made up of 3 rectangular blocks. Here's one that goes down the front, which was bolted to another rectangular block, which is the centerpiece, and there's a piece along the back, which is another rectangular block. This pegboard is a piece of rectangular block with a whole bunch of little holes drilled in it. On this shelf up here, you can see this piece is a rectangular block. This piece that goes on the front is a rectangular block. The bottom shelf is a rectangular block. Rectangular blocks are everywhere. So that's what we're going to start with for our design sketching. So making a design sketch of one of these blocks is not as easy as you might think. You can't just draw this, because that is not a rectangular block. That is just a rectangle. It's only 2D. So to make a rectangular block, we need to add a third dimension to it, like depth or thickness. Now this looks more 3D. This type of 3D drawing is called an oblique drawing because it shows 3 dimensions and one of them is flat. The second one, depth or thickness, is on an angle back, and height is straight up and down like this. It's okay, but there is a better type of 3D drawing, and that's called an isometric drawing. That's what we want to use for our design sketches. For isometric drawings, the vertical is still up and down, the height is still drawn straight up and down, but depth or thickness is on an angle, and width is also on an angle, like this. So this would be a better way of sketching a 3D shape for design drawings. So to review, we've talked about the difference between oblique 3D drawings and isometric 3D drawings. And if the name oblique may not ring a bell, but I bet the picture probably does. Because if you think about it, like a lot of times in your notes when kids are doodling on books, they're drawing little cubes that look like this or look like this, the little clear looking cubes. And both of these styles are oblique. This one you can see has a flat surface along one of the dimensions is flat along the bottom, while only one of them is on an angle back. Same with this. One of the dimensions is flat along the bottom, while one is on an angle back. When we look at our isometric 3D drawings, this has 2 dimensions on an angle sloping back. Width in this case and depth or thickness of this rectangular block are both on an angle, where on the oblique, one of them is always flat, while only one angles back. So why do I want you to draw design sketches when you're drawing 3D shapes in isometric rather than oblique? And the answer is because when you draw an isometric, it makes the finished object look more realistic. As you get into more complicated shapes, oblique drawings just don't cut it, and they make drawings look distorted because one angle is a 90-degree angle where the other one is a 45. In an isometric drawing, both these angles are drawn at like a 60-degree angle to the vertical, which makes them stay more realistic and they don't distort when you get more complex shapes. It's good to practice isometric drawings of rectangular blocks because they're the foundation for almost all isometric drawings, and for that matter, almost all design drawings. So they don't have to be perfectly straight lines, but it's good to practice just drawing some different shapes in different proportions so you can work on developing some skills with some isometric drawing. I'm just drawing a few of them here, and I would encourage you guys to work on doing the same thing. What's going to help you improve your skills is just practice and repetition. There we go, a few different ones. They're not amazing, but they do a pretty good job of showing a 3D shape. If you struggle with this, that is where this isometric grid paper comes in. This can help you develop your skills way faster. With isometric grid paper, all you have to do is just follow the lines. Woo-wee! Look how easy this is. So this can be a good way to practice if you're struggling on plain graph paper. So now that you've learned a little bit about isometric design sketching, it's time to practice. I would get your graph paper out or your isometric grid paper if you have it and start drawing. You want to draw probably at least 20 to 40 different isometric shapes. Start with rectangular block shapes. You can just start with plain blocks like these, and then when you want to get a little more adventurous, try picking like common objects that are rectangular in shape, like a Tic Tac box or a refrigerator, and enjoy the process. Design drawing is fun. Good luck.